Hello, dear listener. I hope you're sitting comfortably, ready for a magical journey filled with bravery, love, and friendship. Today, we'll step into the icy world of the Snow Queen, a timeless tale which reminds us that true love and perseverance can overcome even the coldest and most difficult of challenges. It's about the power of kindness, courage, and the bonds that hold us together. So, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin this enchanting adventure. The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, adapted as a short story to relax to, and read by Donaldson. Once upon a time, there was a wicked hobgoblin who created a magical mirror. This mirror distorted everything it reflected, making the good appear ugly, and the ugly seem even uglier. The hobgoblin was delighted with his creation, and wanted to carry it to heaven to mock the angels. But as he flew higher and higher, the mirror slipped from his hands, crashed to the earth, and shattered into millions of tiny pieces. These shards spread across the world, carried by the wind, and when they lodged in someone's eye or heart, that person could only see the world as ugly and cruel. In a small town lived two children, Jenny and Geoffrey, who were the best of friends. They were not siblings, but they loved each other as if they were. They lived in neighbouring houses, and their windows faced each other. In the summer, they would sit in a little garden that they shared, tending to their roses, laughing and playing together. One winter's day, while Jenny and Geoffrey were looking out of the window at the falling snow, a shard from the hobgoblin's mirror flew into Geoffrey's eye, and another pierced his heart. The change that came over Geoffrey was instant. He suddenly became cold and cruel and distant, mocking Jenny and all the things they once loved together. The beautiful snowflakes, which used to amaze him, now seemed ugly, pointy shapes. One day, while Geoffrey was outside sledding, the Snow Queen appeared, sweeping down on her icy sleigh. She was beautiful as she was cold, and she wore a long white gown, and her breath was frosty and cold. She kissed Geoffrey on the forehead, and with that all warmth left his body. He forgot all about Jenny, his home, and his love. The Snow Queen took him away to her palace in the far north, where winter reigns eternally. When Geoffrey did not return, Jenny was heartbroken. She searched everywhere for him, asking all the people in town, but no one had seen him. Determined to find her friend, Jenny set out on a long journey. She didn't know where Geoffrey was, but she had faith that love would lead her to him. As Jenny travelled, she encountered many kind beings who helped her, and some who were not so helpful. First, there was the wise old woman, who lived in a beautiful garden of eternal summer. She tried to make Jenny forget Geoffrey, offering her flowers and sunshine, but although Jenny was tempted, her love for her friend was too strong. And then the sight of a rose, the flower that Geoffrey and Jenny had once treasured, reminded her of her mission, and she steeled her heart and continued her journey, determined to find him once again. Next, Jenny met a talking crow of the deepest black, but his eyes were sparkling and friendly, and he believed that he had seen Geoffrey in the palace of a beautiful princess. So, with the help of the crow, Jenny sneaked into the palace. But the boy the crow had seen was not Geoffrey. The princess, being of kind heart and generous, gave Jenny warm clothes and a carriage to continue her search. Jenny's journey took her through many dangers. One time she was captured by a band of robbers led by the little robber girl. But the little robber girl, wild and fierce as she was, took pity on Jenny and freed her. The little robber girl had heard of the Snow Queen and gave Jenny her fastest reindeer, Bay, to carry her swiftly to the far north where the Snow Queen's palace stood. The reindeer ran speedily, taking Jenny through snow-covered forests and across frozen lakes. In the far north, Jenny then met the Lapp woman and the Finn woman, wise old women who lived in a large, surprisingly warm cave in a frozen cliff. Being very old and wise, they both understood the magic of the world. They told Jenny that Geoffrey was indeed in the Snow Queen's palace, but only her love could save him. Jenny, though cold and exhausted, pressed on, determined again to free her friend. At last, Jenny reached the Snow Queen's palace, a vast glittering castle made entirely of ice and snow. Just as Jenny lay hidden, looking at this marvel, the Snow Queen launched out of the palace on her frozen sleigh and disappeared over the horizon. Jenny rushed forwards, and running into the palace, found Geoffrey sitting in the Snow Queen's great hall. His heart was frozen, and his mind was consumed by the Snow Queen's puzzle, a game with sharp pieces of ice. The Snow Queen had told him that if he could form the word eternity from the shards, she would set him free. But no matter how hard Geoffrey tried, he could not make sense of the icy shapes, and the solution always evaded him. When Jenny saw Geoffrey, she ran to him, and before he could react, threw her arms around him, weeping. Her warm tears fell on his chest, and suddenly the ice that had frozen his heart melted. Jenny's pure love and devotion broke the Snow Queen's spell. As Geoffrey began to feel again, he started to cry, and the shard of the evil mirror that was in his eye washed out of it, and he was totally free at last. He looked at Jenny, and suddenly he remembered everything. Their friendship, the roses, their happy days in the garden. Geoffrey hugged Jenny back tightly, and together they danced in the Snow Queen's icy hall. The ice pieces that had tormented Geoffrey for so long reacted to their dancing and began to form themselves into the word eternity, and the Snow Queen's power over him was broken forever. The Snow Queen herself was still nowhere to be seen. She had no power over love, and with Geoffrey free, her grip on him vanished. Jenny and Geoffrey left the Snow Queen's palace, carried by the faithful reindeer, and journeyed home together. As they travelled, the world began to get warmer, and spring returned to the land. Flowers bloomed, birds sang, and everything returned to what it once had been. When they finally arrived back at their little town, they were no longer children, but they were still as close as ever, bound by the love and friendship that had guided Jenny through her long and perilous journey. The roses in their little garden bloomed once again, just as they had in the days of their childhood. And so, Jenny and Geoffrey lived happily ever after, knowing that no matter how cold the world may seem, true love can melt even the most frozen heart. The end.